Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised. Welcome back, everybody. This week, we have a very, very special guest with us, and I'm talking cream of the crop. I mean, he's got to be like the best ever, because 23 of those chromosome sons of bitches are mine. Anywho, after like a whole fucking minute of dicking around,
hey,
we are just hanging out, waiting for some stuff to get done, so we figured we'd hop on here, and he wanted to join me for a case. So we picked a little slightly spooky one, but still rather interesting. And we're just going to dive right in. And this one is going to be about the Green Briar ghost. All right, so here we go. In a modest town in Green Briar County, West Virginia, in 1897, citizens were about to experience an event that we, in 2024, could probably not wrap our minds around. On what seemed to be an ordinary day on January 23rd, a bride of 3 short months was found dead at the base of the stairs in the house that she shared with her husband. This poor woman was, and I'm probably going to butcher her name, so sorry, not sorry, please don't at me, and I'm not going to keep saying it 5 times. So, Elva Zona Hester Shue, also referred to as Zona Hester Shue, from Lewisburg, West Virginia. The discovery of her body, I am certain, scared the mind out of poor little 11-year-old Andy Jones, who was simply hired to do some chores around the house. So you walk into this house, and you're going to feed the cats. And when you open the door, there's a dead body at the bottom of the stairs. What do you do?
I don't know.
I know you want to say it. You can say it.
I want to say it so bad.
Say it.
If it moves, I'm going to kick it.
All right.
I feel like if there were cats, though, don't mind cats after like 16 hours? Like if they're dead, they'll eat you or something like that? That's after 16 hours.
I think it takes longer than that.
Because I swear, if I find it and the cat's eating it,
all right.
I'm done.
So, my child would not call the authorities, would not leave the house to get an adult. He would simply kick the motherfucker. All right, so I'm going to take a moment here to do a shout out to Mr. Rob Morphy over at the Cryptonaut Podcast, because apparently you and my son need to go for a hike and just kick everything. That being said, we should just go to the authorities first. Which?
I know. I'm saying I'm not saying I wouldn't call the authorities.
Now, we need to kind of hang on, because this case is the first and only case of its kind. So this badass woman may have met a violent and untimely end, but she would not go down without a fight. This bitch would go on to help solve her own murder and prosecute the sorry son of a bitch who did the dirty deed. Upon stumbling back to Andy, upon stumbling across the deceased body, young Andy ran home to inform his mother before running his ass off to give the news to Elva's husband, Edward, at his job, which was the blacksmith shop. Smart boy.
Can you say that again? Can you say blacksmith again?
Blacksmith?
It's blacksmith, not blacksmith.
Whatever. Anyway, at least this kid was smart enough to go tell his mom and not kick it.
That's not right.
Edward, appearing to be distraught, which, you know what that means, right? Very upset.
Startled.
Yeah,
mad.
Okay, good. Rushed home and cuddled up to his dead wife.
What?
So he sees her. Wow, that's really loud. He sees her.
Kind of weird. If it's a dead body, I'm gonna cuddle it. Like.
Well, a lot of people do that. They go up and they're like hugging. He's like, oh, and he's like acting really upset, and he just.
I wouldn't go anywhere near that thing. If it's dead, it's dead. I ain't touching it.
And he's like holding her head in his arms, like holding her up and holding her head up, with his arm.
There's no point doing that.
And anybody who got close to the body, he would freak out and tell him to leave. He didn't want them anywhere near her body.
Really?
Yes. We'll get into why momentarily. So they then called the coroner, Dr. George Knapp.
Coroner.
That is the person who comes and determines when the person died.
Oh, so
how they
kind of
died.
like on
Like the-
NCIS, that fat,
Ducky,
the fatter one, the older one,
the old guy. Yeah,
the old person that studied the bodies or whatever.
Yes, that's Ducky.
Oh,
He's a coroner.
I just know him as like the fatter old guy that studies bodies.
The coroner shows up, and he concludes that the woman, ready? This is what she died of. Ready? She died of, quote, everlasting faint.
Everlasting faint. That means she fell down the stairs.
He did not look at the body because her husband Edward wouldn't let him anywhere near the body.
Man, that's
He just
very
says-
suspicious.
Yes, that's very suspicious. So the husband's acting like, well, he's trying to pretend that he cares, but he's kind of making it to where nobody can see what really happened to the body.
That makes no sense. If you really cared, you'd let people see it.
And basically the guy just said, oh, she just died. This young woman that just got married just fell over dead.
So it was like, she was like early 20s, to early 20s, the mid 20s.
It's 1897. She was probably, people got married really young.
Like 14, probably, right? Or is that too young?
I don't know. It doesn't say exactly how old
We'll
she
look
was.
into it. I don't know.
Maybe 20s.
Yeah, that's normal.
But anyway, to add to the suspicion, this man never left her side. And I'm talking, he went and assisted with the burial preparations. So he insisted that he be the one to put her head into the casket, and the other person put the feet in, to heave her in there.
Oh, so we can cover up the wounds.
There you go. See? I told you 23 of those chromosomes were mine.
I'm not that dumb.
Once again, yeah, he did that. He said it was necessary to place a blanket.
Blankly. I thought you were going to say a bomb.
A blanket on one side of her head and clothing on the other side so that she could, quote unquote, rest easier. I think it was just to keep her head from flopping around.
That'd be so weird. Carrying a dead body in her head's like all over the place. It'd be kind of weird and scary.
So, come on.
You just kick the head off.
She's dead. I don't think she's worried about how her head is sitting in the casket. So I'm pretty sure that's a sus situation.
He's covering up the wound.
Exactly. The strangeness did not stop there, though. So he then took a very thick scarf and wrapped it around her neck and was like crying the whole time, like putting on this big performance, exclaiming that it was her favorite scarf, and she just had to be buried in it because she would just be devastated if she didn't have the scarf wrapped around her neck.
A dead body would be devastated?
Yeah. Well, I think he's talking spirit, but...
Okay, what's the difference between a soul and a spirit?
They're the same thing.
So
even as Zona was moved from the coroner's office to her mother's house for the viewing, which is like the funeral, Edward never left the head end of her casket to ensure that nobody would mess with this big bulky scarf that he wrapped around her neck.
it's like at that point he'd just be arrested because there's too much
Super sus.
suspicion there.
Well, apparently back then people were stupid. The following day, the body was buried and everyone still believed she died of natural sudden death. However, over the next month, Zona's mother began informing neighbors and townsfolk that the ghost of her daughter had paid her a visit 4 nights in a row to explain that her death was anything but natural. She claims that Zona informed her that not only did she not die peacefully, she fell victim to the violence of her own husband. Zona also confessed to her mother that her husband had always been cruel and abusive in the past. So basically, what happened was, what she was saying is, her husband came home.
Mm-hmm.
He was not happy that his wife was not serving meat with his dinner, or served the wrong meat with his dinner or something.
So kind of like, let's say...
So he killed her.
Yeah, let's say you didn't serve the food or something.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was this ever, like, physically proven? Or was this just a theory?
We'll get to it. After these visits, the determined mother took her concerns to the prosecutor, and they decided they had enough information to initiate an investigation. Upon the investigation, the truth came out that Edward had some skeletons in his closet. No pun intended.
Skeletons? Like,
that means
actual...
you have secrets. No, that just means you have secrets.
Oh.
Actually, this one's Both.
I thought of like a skeleton
Oh.
with like a rope around it or something. I don't know.
His last 2 wives had died under mysterious circumstances. One supposedly died by falling from a haystack, breaking her neck while he was there.
That wouldn't work. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
If he was there, he would have saved her. If he actually cared.
Well, if you break your neck, you're dead. You can't do anything anyway.
Not
But
really. Unless if you break it in the right spot.
ironic that it was her neck, though, right?
Yeah, but like a haystack?
Yeah.
Haystacks aren't even that big.
His second wife died while assisting him with some chimney repairs when he accidentally dropped a brick on her head. Convenient? I think not.
Flat Stanley.
She probably turned into Flat Stanley.
Took several breaks for that, though.
So he was also seen acting very strange after his late wife's death.
Was his face red? He's probably sweating.
Dr. Knapp, which again was the coroner, from the autopsy was even brought in for questioning, where he admitted that he could have been mistaken in the initial cause of death. Those involved in the investigation decided to exhume Zona's body, with Edward whining like a bitch the entire time. You know, he's freaking out because they're digging this body up to see why was she dead. They're doing a double check.
Oh, she's already decomposed. It's kind of too late.
It's not been that long. It's only been a couple months.
And if she's still fully intact,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You just might find a couple spiders here and there.
Well, not as well. It depends on how good the casket is. His argument when they were trying to exhume the body was that, quote, but they will not be able to prove I did it, end quote. Like, guilty much? Little sus? Who would say that as they're digging up your wife's body?
That just automatically makes you a bigger suspect.
Yeah.
If it, like, for no reason at all, hypothetically, if I did it, I just would be quiet. I wouldn't do anything. So the more you talk, the worse it gets.
Exactly. Now, the second autopsy told a drastically different story than the initial one. It was found that her neck was broken, her windpipe was completely crushed, and her neck was dislocated between the first and second vertebrae that tore and ruptured the surrounding ligaments. I mean, it was like hardcore.
So, like,
cracked. Yes.
Like all the way around.
And like crushed the windpipe.
Like on the cartoon movies, like where their head spins around like that.
Yeah, probably like that. It's probably why he wouldn't let go of it.
Probably the head was dangling around everywhere.
After they found this information out, Edward was arrested and tried for murder. Surprise, surprise, a guilty verdict followed a little after an hour of deliberation on June 22nd of 1897. He was given life in prison at the state penitentiary, and this waste of resources died on March 1st of 1900. A conviction would never have happened had this badass woman not reached out from beyond the grave to insist to her mother to take another look at the case and provide the information as to why she really died. So without the testimony of the ghost, which, by the way, this is the first and only time a ghost's testimony has been used in court to convict their own murderer.
Imagine the ghost was a lawyer. Like, it just stood there and just screamed, he did it.
Yeah, right? But yeah, so had she not said anything, he would have got off scot-free. That was actually a super fast one. Super quick. I know it's like super tiny compared to what we normally do, but we just wanted to come out here and have our very special guest here. So what do you think, H-Man?
Think about what?
I mean, can you believe that this guy acted so suspicious and got away with it?
Me personally, like, if he would just keep on talking, I would just knock him out and leave him alone.
Yeah.
It would get him to stop talking.
And why is this coroner not doing his damn job? His job was to figure out why that body died.
It was the 1980s, Mom.
1897.
Okay, that makes it even worse, because back then they had barely any guns. And lassos. And duct tape. No, not even duct tape. They had, like...
They had weapons. Until next time, guys. See ya. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe, rate, and review anywhere you listen. This is more beneficial than you may know and will help others locate the podcast. Don't forget to check out my Patreon page as well. We currently have 2 tiers. The Snallygaster tier that'll get you unedited bonus audio, a sticker, a shout out on the podcast, and access to the private Discord server. The second tier is the Phantom tier, and that'll get you all of the benefits of the Snallygaster tier, plus access to live streams and Q&A sessions, and is the only place you can access all video footage from regular episodes as well as the Patreon exclusive episodes. You can subscribe today at patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy. Don't forget to head over to the TeePublic website and take a look at a variety of merch options that are available. You can also find and follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, X, and YouTube. All of these links can be found in the description of this episode under the Linktree hyperlink. Until next time, my friends, dare to believe.